I'm happy to know so many of you have come here. And I feel this is a very important puja, not only for Australia, but for the whole world. Because it has the greatest message, which we have actualized now in SahajaYoga. We have to understand the message of Christ. There are many people in this world who try to show off that they are very great rationalists and that they have a right to pass any remark they like about Christ. I was reading the newspapers today, I was surprised, where they are all saying one by one that I reject this part of Christ that he was born with immaculate conception. I reject that he was resurrected. I reject this and I reject that. Who are you? Because you can write, because you have a flair, how can you say such things? Just without finding out. You are a scholar, maybe you are very well read, maybe that you think you are capable of saying whatever you like about any subject, but subject of spirituality cannot be dealt by people who are not even selfless. Because it's a very divine life, it's a very different life. It's an area where your mind cannot enter. It is beyond the mind. And so the poets or artists, all of them who have worked on Christ's life and have tried to say things about him, mostly were realized souls, and if they were not, they could not do any justice to his life. It's very surprising that I should be celebrating this resurrection in Australia. You know, this is the country of Muladhara, and Muladhara itself then expresses itself or manifests in the Agya. So, such a great connection you have that, first of all, is the country where Muladhara is established, was established, I should say. And later on that it was manifested in the life of Christ on the Agya Center. I must say that you have really created some very great people signifying this beautiful manifestation. Because as you have Dr. Bhagwan, who is an Australian, in the sense that he lived here, and then he went back to Russia, which is the right Agya, where he worked. In the same way as SahajaYoga has prospered here, to begin with, among all the European countries, or we can say among all the countries which were not Indian, maximum growth took place in Australia. And the maximum growth now first took place in the Eastern Bloc, in Russia. Now the other part of the Agya is China. And it is you people only, out of you only, some people have to look after that. And as it is, you are all looking after Taiwan, Hong Kong, Thailand. All these are Chinese races. Apart from that, they worship Buddha. It's very interesting. Buddha, as you know, is on the left side of your Medha, as they call it. This is the Medha plate. Is the lower plate of the brain. So the Christ is in the center, and we have got Buddha on the left side. Or you also are looking after the countries which are influenced by Buddha. It's all working out like a plan. Perhaps you are not aware of it, that we are all people belonging to one Virata, and that our needs or our work, all of them have great significance and connection. About Australia, there's a myth in India that there was a big saint and he was very good, but somehow he made some mistakes, or maybe lots of mistakes. So God cursed him and said, you better go away from India. It was connecting India and Africa. So the land was brought down to this point. He gave him the land, God, and he said, now you resurrect this land and make something out of it. And this star is called as this Trishanku, which is your southern cross. The southern cross is called as Trishanku, as it mentioned in our Puranas, as this saint who became like that, and God made him into a star which is hanging. Trishanku is hanging on top of this land and is working out the building up of this country. He was told that you go there and make a heaven for the human beings. This has so many mythological and historical backgrounds. And there are some very good points also I have seen about Australia, which are very surprising, because they believe in the multiracial society and they preserve it. They try to help the people through justice if some people are troubled and tortured. This is a very bold attitude towards progress, that we should have multicultural society. And this comes, again I would say, after resurrection of political thought. America is multicultural society, full of it, and as a result of that, they have progressed very much financially. But they didn't learn anything from the multicultural society. For example, Spanish went there. Spanish, as you know how, bullfighters. They went and destroyed all the cultures of the ancient times. And the new people who have gone, they don't have any rapport with them. Like Indians have a separate identity, then we have other cultures like Islamic and all that. So they don't keep any connection with them. The original aboriginals are also kept out as something very low level. But here I find people have a curiosity and also knowledge about the other cultures which are around them. That shows the sense of collectivity is within your genes, we can say, that it is working out in such a way that this country believes still in the multicultural society. All these are manifestation of Sri Ganesha's quality. See, if you have, say, a group of even 10 people with husband and wife, and they don't have the purity of Sri Ganesha, they cannot exist, because there will be always a very great conflict between husband and wife. Also, not only the conflict part, but people will become extremely superficial. Like in America, a woman would marry a man because he wears such and such dress. Or a woman is appreciated because she has a particular type of hairstyle. If the hairstyle changes, the man can ask for a divorce. So superficial they are. The fight is with the husband that you didn't buy a particular coat which I liked, so there's a divorce. It's so superficial. So the relationship between husband and wife is established by Sri Ganesh, and he gives you the pure idea about how to enjoy your married life. While people like Freud become so important, they start replacing Christ, and people become enamored by that. Because human beings, if they know that in potential state they are all divine, they all have to become divine, and not to go down to the level of animals, even worse than that. If they realize it, that their main object of life is resurrection, that they have to rise above all these so-called temptations of life. If they know this potential, then they have to believe in it also, so that they do not have these absurd ideas about life. As a human being, Christ came. He came as a human being, but he was not a human being. He was divine. Absolutely, he was nothing but Omkara. That's why he could walk on the water. There was nothing materialistic in him, you can say, no matter in him. If there was any matter, he could not have walked on the water. But if people start discarding all these facts about his birth, about his walking on the water and all that, then what is left of Christ I can't understand. Now this message of resurrection is very important, but what you find that as you get 3 days holidays, people are just doing what one should not do. They have gone to some places, maybe with their wives, may not be with their wives, with anybody, into some sort of a rubbish, and they enjoy things which cannot be enjoyed by anybody who is a realized soul. So we have to know ourselves that now we have got our realization, we got it. Not that it is in a potential state, but it is in a kinetic state. So for us, Christ should be a model, what kind of life we should live. In those days of Christ, there were no aeroplanes, there were no cars, nothing. But he went from places to places and talked to them about spiritual life. The people were not yet evolved. They were not mature enough. So he could not give them realization, but he talked about dharmic life. He went to the extreme of the 10 Commandments, that he said, not only that you should not do adultery, but you should not even have adulterous eyes, pure eyes. Now, how is it possible? When you see Christians and Christian nations, they suffer from this disease of not having at all clean eyes. There's a kind of a lust and greed in the eye, and they are not ashamed of it. Thank God, SahajaYogis all over the world have changed so much, transformed so much. They have become so beautiful that this problem we don't have. And if somebody has it, we want that person to get out of SahajaYoga till they cure themselves and come to normal. The main problem of the Christian nation is that they have become too much mental. Even sex they do mentally, in the sense they flirt. The eyes are so much all the time looking at something and reacting to it. They cannot witness anything. Anything they see, they start thinking about it, react to it. Then the reaction, because they are not evolved, can take them to any level of bestiality, worse than beasts. For example, an innocent person sees something, he goes into thoughtless awareness and he just enjoys the beauty of that. But a person who is full of lust and greed can never enjoy anything. On the contrary, he would like to possess that thing, or would go beyond the limits of his authority and enjoy somebody else's wife, somebody else's husband. It's a very subtle thing which we should understand. When we make friendship with others, what do we enjoy in the friendship? What do we see in that friendship? As realized soul, how your friendship should be. The friendship should be pure, nirvaj. That is, you are friendly with somebody because just you enjoy the pure friendship, where there's no sense of possession or also the sense of destruction. Such a friendship is a Sahaj friendship. I have seen people all over the world, when they come to Ganpati Pule, the way they laugh, the way they enjoy. I feel so happy that this new world of such innocent people has been created on this earth in my lifetime. You should also realize that you belong now to a very higher type of people, very higher type. There's no justification for any SahajaYogi to indulge into such dirty stuff, because he is beyond it. He has developed a new sense of beauty and cleanliness. He cannot bear anything which makes him look like a person who goes towards all kinds of filthy things. This is a speciality which you have got it, which was potentially within you, and despite the atmosphere in which you lived and you saw, you just got out of it and became like beautiful lotuses in the pond of filth. And these lotuses themselves can give such a beautiful fragrance to others that they can make the whole pond fragrant and beautiful. So the responsibility on you is much more than I would say on Christ. Because Christ was divine. I was asking them to get Devi Mahatma if possible, that he is described as the son of Lord Krishna and Radhaji, and that he has been given a special power and is called as the support of the universe. Just imagine, Mooladhar. He is the support of the universe. And the birth is described in a beautiful way, that first he was created like an egg. This purity, this auspiciousness was made into an egg. That's why during Easter you people give eggs to friends. Now this egg was nicely also kept for ages, and then it was broken into two. The first one became Sri Ganesha, and the second one, which evolved fully like an egg when it is evolved and is fully mature, the second one was Christ. You may say that how is it one egg has two forms? I must say these are divine happenings. They are very different from what we see in the mundane world. Now this egg, the second part of it, became a child, and he was crying for his father. All his life Christ talked for his father, and when he knew he will be crucified, he prayed to his father, saying that, "O Father, save me from this cup of crucifixion." He prayed. And if you see his two fingers, these two fingers are always out. Expression of his blessing. This is the one which stands, as you know very well, for Sri Krishna, and this one for Vishnu. So always he showed these two fingers. There are so many things by which we can, as SahajaYogis, find out how Christ has been ruling throughout. He is not dead. His body might have been perished in Kashmir, as they say, but he was the spirit. And the spirit that was in him was a living, eternally living, great personality. We may say that he might have had little bit of, we can say, the human aspect to camouflage himself. After all, spirit just cannot come in. And that might have been dead, that part, that camouflage that he was using. In divinity, as Ganesha is pure, he is absolutely beyond any kind of contamination. Other incarnations who came on this earth, they had to do many things. Like Sri Krishna had to go in the war of Mahabharata. Rama had to go in the jungle to deal with people. Same with Christ, we can say, that he did go to all these places, but he never behaved like a human being. Others did. Sri Rama cried a lot, wept a lot for his wife. Then Sri Krishna married so many times because they were his power, so he married them. So though they were incarnations, they had to very much do the things which human beings do. Christ was never married. He never wept, as far as we know, except when he was praying to his father. He just asked that if you could remove this cup from my mouth, I'll be very happy. So it's shown in his character But he came on this earth as a divine personality, lived as a divine personality, and died as a divine personality. I think that way it is much easier to be. Because you are a divine person, you come, give some sermons, lectures, this, that, and just go away. He didn't take the responsibility of giving realization to people, which is the greatest headache, I think, to give realizations to people. Because if you give them the resurrection, if they get their realization, Christ accepted his resurrection as a natural thing because he knew all about it. And that he didn't have to change, he didn't have to transform himself, he was the same as he was. Because he did not need any resurrection. He just tried to show in his life that we human beings can have our realization and we can be resurrected. His message is not the cross, but the resurrection. And this resurrection, if you understand, then one can understand also one more thing, that we are now resurrected from ordinary human beings to the divine level. It was easier for Christ because he didn't have to face any problems. While you are coming out of that human life to such a higher life, suddenly it is too much, I agree. It is too much to accept. But because you go beyond your mind, it's not difficult. Because your mind stops thinking. Otherwise, normally people would have been thinking, now I am resurrected, all right, so what should I do? What should I drop out? What things should go away? What is the goal? All these ideas of human beings would have followed you slowly. But no, you just felt we are there. Now what to do? We are there. You became conscious of your qualities, of your virtues, of your greatness. And those who were conscious became very confident that we have these values already existing within us. We have these powers which are manifesting, and these powers are flowing through us. Nobody doubted it. Some did, but very few. As you grew up, immediately you knew that the divine is acting through you, is there. Everything is tangible. You know everything about your inner being. Gradually, you start spreading out yourself, spreading out your personality. And then you don't have the weaknesses as human beings have. We had some funny people, no doubt, I know. That people start thinking about how to make money out of SahajaYoga. And that's still a human nonsense going on. Or how to show your powers, how to show how your powers can assert, how to sort of use your ego to put down people. All these are human style of lives. And it existed for some time. But now I find you all are washed, as if through this Kundalini has just washed you completely. You all have become very beautiful people, extremely beautiful. And even people, they see you at the airport and they think that these are some unique people. Even in this area, when we came, they were telling me that the gentleman who is the caretaker was saying he has never seen such a group. They don't fight, they don't argue, they don't make money. The children are so sweet. It's remarkable. Such a society in these modern times never existed anywhere. And how is it is existing here? They were quite surprised, as also you should be, that you have achieved this without any much effort or any penance or going to Himalayas. You got it here because it was all there. It was all there and you found it. Our marriages are 90% are successful. We have problems from the parents, sometimes from the society, but it's too little to be mentioned. And it makes one sense to me that we can really change this world. No doubt about it. If you remember that the message of Christ is resurrection, that has already happened. Now, after resurrection, what? Your attention should be there. If it is still on your job, on your money, on your car, your house, this, that, then you are still a human being. You have not yet lost that attachment. Or on your children and your spouses and all. That is all being still absolutely human. But a person who is divine has all the relations but doesn't get attached and involved into. I have given many a time a very good example of the trees. See, in the tree the sap rises, goes to various parts of the tree. Either it is evaporated or it goes back to Mother Earth. It never gets attached to anything. As long you are attached to your children, attached to this, attached to that, then try to understand that divinity has not fully manifested. That detachment is not neglect. Never. On the contrary, it is the most pure detachment which really nourishes every area of your life. Wherever you go, it nourishes. So you have to test yourself. Nobody else has to do it. How far I have been kind to others? How far I have been helpful to others? How far I have been collective? I have seen glimpses of this many a times and it has given me great joy. Like once we had a program of SahajaYogis and the gentleman had invited me alone for dinner. So the program was there and I just thought that how can all these people eat in his house, you see. So I waited till they disappeared. All the SahajaYogis disappeared. This gentleman came to say, Mother, why did you ask them to go? I had cooked for all of them. See, this made me so happy. He had a small house. I don't know how he cooked for all of them. And so much food he had cooked already. And he was waiting all of them to have some food. And I just thought that it is too much for him to feed so many people. In the same way, we have to have this feeling that we are all collective and we have to help each other. It is, say, in the body, if I have any problem in any finger, any hand, anywhere, the whole body runs for it. The whole body suffers for it. Whole body knows about it. In the same way, in SahajaYoga, there should be a common feeling all over the world. If something happens here, one person is affected, the whole world should know. Not only that know, but they should make efforts. If one person is suffering, the whole world will suffer for that. And this is what is the culmination of our collectivity. Those who try to keep out of it, you see, in the collectivity, cannot grow also. About many things I have to say, but especially I would say that when we see somebody in difficulties, say financial difficulty, at that time we should try to suggest or try to help that person as just a part and parcel of the whole. Then that person will realize that I have so many people here. I am not alone. Somebody might get more, somebody might get less, makes no difference. But the activity of the collective should be such that you should feel that oneness, that innate feeling for another person. Innate. You not have to think about it, but is innately you should feel attached to that person, and you should feel that you have to do something about it. After all, why should he not have the same joy as I have? So the first thing that you will do of such people is normally is to help him in his chakras, help him in his endeavors. It is very easy now to do SahajaYoga. In the olden times it was very difficult. If you had tried SahajaYoga, say in the early time of Christ, you all might have been crucified. Could be. What did Christ do after all? Why was he crucified? But nowadays that's not so. Then you, like other saints and people in India, thousands of years they said we have been meditating. We started our meditation when we were nothing, and now years after years, our different births after births, we have worked hard to get to this situation that now we have got realization. You don't have that problem. There's no problem at all, except for one, that you have to have full assessment of yourself, that you are the pure spirit, and that you are in the kingdom of God. Just like Christ, it did not matter to him. He had to oppose something that was wrong, he did it. When he had to support something was destroyed and saved, he did it. He had nothing to do with Mary Magdalene. But when people started stoning her, he went and stood before her. And he said, those who have not committed any sin can throw stone at her. See, this courage, this confidence was in him because he was a divine personality, because of divinity. But you have become divine. In a way, you know better about life than he knew, because he never touched all these points that you have touched, from what problems you have come out. So you should have much more understanding for people who are not in SahajaYoga or who want to come to SahajaYoga. Like as soon as they come to any program, you should not start saying, you are a bhoot, you are that. You were a bhoot before you came here. Quite a big bhoot. If you ask me, I can tell you. But when you realize what is your importance, now you have become qualified. You know everything about it. When you know that this has happened, then try just to follow few rules about SahajaYoga. It's very easy for you to follow because you are divine, no problem. No problem. You can follow it very well. But don't yield to human pressures that still linger in you or maybe in the society. You keep to your own style, to your own behavior, and you'll be amazed that the rest of the world will worship you. Not hang you, but worship you. In your lifetime it's going to happen. But try to understand that you are being resurrected for a purpose. And that purpose is to transform this world into a beautiful place, for which all of you should, with full attention, with full understanding about yourself, about your responsibilities, should jump into it. Australia has a special responsibility. As I told you, some are so over-responsible and some are not at all. I can't understand why it is so. Why is it happening like that? I see people who are so attentive and some whose attention is still not all right, moving like this, moving like that. So you should try to follow people who have reached a certain height. Try to follow their life, their lifestyle. And then you will be amazed that you can do it very easily because you are mature. It's like, I've said that we are like an egg and it has to be hatched once you are mature. But some chicks come out and just start walking nicely. With little legs, you see them very nicely walking towards the mother. And the others are still there covered with all kinds of filth on them and not able to walk. And then these ones who can walk, just bring them, you see, they poke them with their beaks and say, come along, come along, come along, and they bring it to the mother. It's very interesting, you must watch them. This Easter has a great meaning that we are now newly born jakes and we have to now follow a new path. It's a very simple path, but still we are conditioned, so we are afraid maybe, or we have an ego, whatever it is. So drop out all these things, just humble down and just start walking on this path of Sahaj. And one day Australia should be able to cover the whole world. I can't see why not. After all, you are the Muladhara, and the Muladhara must play its own role as the wisest people. Wisdom is the power that you get from Sri Ganesha. So you have to be wise, absolutely wise, and know that you have been seekers. You didn't get it because I asked you or we paid you or anything, but you were seekers struggling to know the truth, and that's how you got it. And once you have got it, you should establish it fully in your life and also in the lives of others. Let others also feel that this gentleman is very unique or this lady is very unique. She's very different. She's not selfish, she's not cunning, she doesn't manipulate. But somehow by her character, by her nature, she is trying to create light for us and enlighten our path, enlighten the path of others. May God bless you.